beautiful bookish friends, I'm Bowen and welcome to my channel. This video is going to be my July wrap up. Now I feel like July was a little bit of a mixed bag, but I did get my first 5 stars since February, so I consider that a win overall. So let's get into the books that I read in July. And we're going to start with Book Lovers by Emily Henry. I gave this one a 4.25 and a 2 spice rating. Now I kind of have a bit of a love-hate relationship with Emily Henry books, because while the relationship part is the worst part of the books for me in every single one of the ones I've read, this is the 3rd book from her that I've read, there is always a different aspect of the book that just really draws me in. Like, for example, in Beach Read, it was the parent-child dynamic. In You and Me on Vacation, it was the Wonderlust aspect. In this, it's the sibling dynamic. It's the eldest daughter energy that this just absolutely exudes. This is perfect if you are eldest child, eldest daughter, because I felt so seen in this book. I get that a lot of people don't really understand the eldest sibling kind of dynamic, but as an eldest sibling, you are essentially like another parent, and that just never goes away. Your instinct is always to protect the younger sibling. I say that as an eldest sibling, as an eldest daughter, as someone that is consistently always covering for my stupid ass brother. And I will always call him my kid brother. The boy is 27. I don't care. He will always and forever be my kid brother. And that is the same kind of energy. Like, you always go to instinctively protect the younger siblings. The relationship between Nora and Charlie was fine. It didn't do anything for me, but it was the sibling relationship in this that I absolutely just ate it up. So I don't know whether or not I'm going to be picking up more Emily Henry. I did enjoy this one for the sibling dynamic alone. The next book I'm going to talk about is Desire in His Blood by Zoe Draven. I gave this book a 4 star and a 4 spice rating. This is just true alien vampire smut, but I don't hate that. It kind of took a while for this book to get going, but that's because it puts in the time to establish the world and the characters and everything in first. So it kind of does start a bit slow, but by the end, this truly fucking had me. It's kind of an arranged marriage of convenience type of story as well, because this follows Azor and Gemma. Azor needs to marry into this family so he can get revenge on this family for something that Gemma's father did, which we don't discover what that is until quite late in the book. And Gemma needs to marry basically for money so her family doesn't go completely destitute. Because Gemma is the eldest daughter, and while she could probably send her younger ones off to do the arranged marriage thing because they're more of marriageable age, she doesn't want to put her younger siblings through that because, you know, eldest daughter, we're onto a theme here. So she basically volunteers herself to be the one that goes and gets arranged marriage to this vampire, alien, very scary species of alien demon with the wings and the fangs, and I don't know, he sounded hot to me, I don't know what to tell you. But this book at the end did kind of get me a little choked up. Didn't actually cry, but I really enjoyed this one. I look forward to picking up more Zoe Draven in the future and definitely getting to the next book in this series. Next, I listened to the audiobook for All Systems Red by Martha Wells. I gave this one a 3.5. This is just a short little novella in the Murderbot series, and Murderbot is an AI robot that is programmed to murder people, but he's fucked up his factory settings a little bit, so he's got a little bit more personality and a little bit more autonomy, and kind of all he wants to do, instead of what he's actually programmed to do, he just wants to sit and watch TV. And I can't really fault him for that. They're like, your job is to murder people and you're very good at it, very proficient, very risk analysis kind of situation, but you'd much rather sit on your ass and watch TV and like watch your stories. Yeah, definitely rather be with the stories, if I'm honest. Can't fault him, really. I did find that he seemed to have more anxiety than actual personality, and he was like the most introverted of all of the introverts, but way less fun. Anxiety was their entire personality, nothing else other than that, and that was kind of disappointing. But for a short, quick listen, I really did enjoy this. I do find it really interesting that when you look on the reviews for this, some people have Murderbot be a female character and some people have Murderbot be a male character. I understand more towards the male character though, because it is a guy that narrates the audiobook, but not once does it specify Murderbot's gender because it's a robot. I don't think it has a gender. So I just thought that was really interesting as well. But overall, I don't think I would continue the series, but it was free, it was short, it was quick. So I went for it. And it was alright. Next is Nadine's Champion by Ruby Dixon. This one I gave a 3.5 and a 3 spice rating. Now this one, with the male main character of Thrand, him making everything a competition, instead of it being like fun, cute, boyish charm, just came across as like really juvenile, and it kind of got on my fucking nerves a lot. Like he was acting like, but I can run faster than you, but I can get there first, meh, 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 meh. And it just came across as really fucking childish. It's really hard to root for him when he's acting like that as well, especially because his need for competition in every fucking aspect of everything endangers both himself and Nadine at one point, and he doesn't really take a lot of responsibility, which makes him feel like even less of a grown adult. He just comes across as like extremely childish, and for that reason it just made me really uncomfortable. I didn't really like it all that much. So I'm like, yeah, but I'm gonna be the bestest ever. Bud, calm down. I still really like Ruby Dixon's books and Ruby Dixon's series, and I am gonna slowly, very slowly, get my way through all of her backlist. But I find that most of her books are a 3-star average, so I should probably stop. Am I going to? Not a chance. The next book I'm going to talk about is The Co-op by Tara DeWitt. This one I gave a 2.25 and a 1 spice rating. I was really disappointed with this one. This one follows R'lyn and Deacon, who both inherit this dilapidated shared house from their grandmothers when they pass. And because it's really dilapidated, they need to be able to fix it up. She has the money locked away in an inheritance that she needs to get married to be able to access. So it's a marriage of convenience type of story, and he's like a construction person, so he has the expertise, she has the money, they come together, they get married, and they do up this house. It's a second chance romance as well, because they had like a romance when they were teens, and then years later they've come back together, so it's also an enemies to lovers one, because didn't end the best when they were teenagers. Not one fucking time did I root for this couple. The way that they kind of snipe at each other and like joke and prank with each other is very much like the movie What Happens in Vegas with Cameron Diaz. It's that level of petty bickeringness, but they didn't really ever communicate well. I just didn't root for them at all, which for my first Tara DeWitt book is really disappointing. I do have more by this author and I will give them a go. I really wanted to love it and I just didn't. Next book I'm going to talk about is The Third Baseman by Lulu Moore. I gave this one a 3 spice rating and a 3.5 star. This one's another second chance romance, and again, my issue with second chance romances is if it didn't work out the first time, why are we doing this again? They've not seen each other since they were teenagers. When she was 16, he was 18. They had like a romance then, and he broke up with her when they were teenagers, and then 14 years later he decides he now has to have her back, and he constructs this whole plan in order to get her back, including making a job offer for her that like genuinely pays her so much fucking money that she can't actually refuse it. But he's not looked her up once in those 14 years. There's so much about her life that he doesn't fucking know about, and he's a baseball star, right? So he's got a lot of fucking money. So I don't understand why, if this was something that you wanted to pursue, you wouldn't have got like even basic background check. Within the 14 years that she's not spoken to him, not seen him, not heard from him, she got married. And that is something that is at the very start of the book. She's just been divorced, but he didn't know that. If you've not seen the love of your life for 14 years, surely you'd want to know. Just do a basic search to find out what they've been up to. It takes like 5 minutes. I just do not understand why it took so long for him to get his head out of his arse and decide he wants her back now. Why now? I don't understand that point. Like, why is this the moment that you decide that now you have to have back? Okay, my guy, whatever. Honestly, with this one, I just don't get it. This is the reason why second chance romances make no fucking sense to me. Didn't love it, unfortunately. Then we have Next of Kin by Hannah Bonham Young. This one I gave a 4 star and a 2 spice rating. This book follows Chloe and Warren, and Chloe finds out that her addict mother has just had a baby, and she has to kind of take care of it because her mother is not in a position to be able to do so. Because if Chloe doesn't take care of it, then newborn baby's got to go into the system, and she doesn't really want that because she was in the system for a while. So she's like, no, I'm going to take care of the baby, but the problem is she doesn't kind of make enough money to take care of a newborn. So they have this system set up where two people in a similar kind of position are kind of paired together. So enter Warren, who's trying to keep custody of his 15-year-old deaf brother, who doesn't really have a place to live. So Chloe has the place to live, but he has the steady, stable job. So they come together to be able to, like, both be able to keep custody of their siblings. I honestly thought this was going to be way more dramatic than it actually was. I kept kind of waiting for the other shoe to drop, but it was just nice. It was just a sweet, cozy, fun little romance that was just heartwarming, and I really, really enjoyed this. The conflict was resolved quickly. Both parties blended well. Like, Chloe got on with his brother because Warren's brother Liam is deaf. Chloe actually also knows sign language because of the family that adopted her, and her adopted dad is deaf as well, so she automatically knows sign language. While Chloe is very much a people pleaser, she will stand up for the people that she cares about when she absolutely has to. There's one scene in this, and I don't want to spoil it, but the Warren's birthday that just warmed my fucking heart. If you know, then you know. Chloe was just, such a badass. I love her. And this was third person single POV. So I feel like this could have benefited from being dual POV. Even in third person would have been fine. Just, I wanted to see more of Warren. He just couldn't believe his luck that Chloe actually liked him. I just thought he was just so sweet. And he also loves Chloe's little baby sister as much as if it was his own. I love this. This was just so sweet and lovely and just such a good time. I can't wait to pick up more from this author as well. Next we have Distance by Luna Mason. I gave this one a 3.5 and a 5 spice rating. I think it's time that I accept the fact that I'm not really truly deep down in my soul one of the dark romance girlies. I want to be one of the cool kids so fucking bad, but it just doesn't work for me. I will also say this is the only time that I ever want to fit in. Other than that, I don't care. But I want to like dark romance so fucking much. I get why people love it, I really do. This just didn't do it for me. I never thought I'd say I want less smut in a book, but this was just too much. I was interested in the plot, but I feel like it sacrificed so much of the plot for the smut, and it was just not necessary. I do like the fact that she gets to see all the very darkest parts of him, and she loves that as well, but it was a little repetitive for my liking. It just didn't do it for me, unfortunately. Next we have Layer of Dreams by Libba Bray. I gave this one a 4.25. I'm slowly listening to these on audio, but I'm listening to them on audio on Spotify. So just a little side note, I managed to listen to this on the very last day of the month, right as the book finished on the last line, you are out of listening hours. The only thing I had left on that book was the author's note. I love when that happens. It was just, I love that for me. But the audiobook for this series is 100% the way to go. The narrator was so goddamn impeccable. Like, the voices that she uses in this, so fucking creepy. I don't think I'd get the same level of spook factor if I read it physically. This series is just so atmospheric, and the way that Libba Bray takes actual history and blends it in with like the supernatural elements is so goddamn seamless. It's beautiful. All of the characters are so different that it's really easy to tell them apart, and they blend together so well, both the old and the new characters in this book. I don't want to say too much about it because it is the second book in the series, but I love this so much. I really look forward to getting to the rest of the books in this series. It might take me a while because, like I say, I am listening to them on Spotify and they're over the listening hours time, so it will take me like 2 months to read each book. But I really want to know what's going to happen with the whole gang and the man in the stovepipe hat, and I'm so looking forward to getting to the rest of this series. I really love this. Next we have Monsters and Minotaurs by Ashley Bennett. I gave this one a 4-star and a 3 spice rating. This is the third book in the series, and this one follows the mum, Pam, of the two main characters in the first two books. So this follows Tegan and Reese's mum. So this is a later in life romance where the main characters are in their 50s. And Pam meets Alistair, who is a Minotaur, on this dating app where he is in town just for a short while visiting his daughter who's not well. So he's in town helping his daughter get better until he goes back home to the other side of the country. So on one of his last days in town, him and Pam go on this amazing date. Like, there's coffee, book shopping, ice skating. It's so cute. I loved it so much. But after this one date, they decide that they immediately want to jump into a relationship. It's very quick. I wouldn't say it's insta-love because the love part doesn't come very quickly, but the relationship comes really quickly. It's like literally after one day. I really enjoyed this one. I do love reading later in life romances as well because not everyone finds their true love in their 20s. So I just really had such a good time with this one, and I can't wait to get to more Ashley Bennett books. Then we have Nine Lives by Helen Juliet. This one I gave a 4 spice rating and a 3.5 star. This is a male-male romance, and I had to go into this with a very different mindset than I normally would go into a book, because this is big age gap. Like, Charlie is 21 and Miller is early 40s, I think. So it's literally like half of his age. And it's very, very heavy on the daddy kink, which I'm not out here trying to yuck someone else's yum, but it's just deeply not my thing. It kind of gives me the ick. And I find that that is the case for that word in particular. Either you're into it or it's just deep ick. And I fall into the ick kind of category. So instead I kind of went into it with the mindset of curiosity and how well the kink community is represented. The daddy kitten kink was very much the whole lifestyle of it, not just the sexy fun times. It's all of it. And honestly, I think the kink community in this was represented really, really well. I think they did an excellent job with this. This is meant to be like a Puss in Boots kind of retelling. And honestly, I just wanted to know what a Puss in Boots retelling was. And apparently it was just a way to lean into that kink, like collars and the whole nine. And because I thought it was really well done, I didn't really want to give it a low rating. And honestly, I think a 3.5 feels really low for what this is. It's just because it wasn't my personal cup of tea. I think this is the perfect book for someone else. It's just not my thing, unfortunately. And then we have my first 5-star in 5 months, and that is Behind the Net by Stephanie Archer. I gave this one a 3 spice rating. This book follows Jamie and Pippa, and Jamie is a hockey player. He's the goalie for Vancouver Storm, and Pippa is his assistant. I don't think this counts as a second chance romance, because while they knew each other in high school, they were never together in high school. They just had a crush on each other back then, but they never did anything about it. Like, they never knew that they had a crush on each other. But this was just so stinking cute. I loved every single thing about this. Pippa's kind of a singer-songwriter, but because her ex was in the industry and her ex kind of like used to put her down a lot when it comes to her music, she was kind of struggling to get back on the horse, as it were. So I get why a lot of people don't like the nickname that Jamie gives her in this. He calls her Songbird quite a lot, but I kind of liked it. I thought this was really, really cute. I loved everything about this. Jamie is just such a sweetheart. This was very Grumpy Sunshine. I loved how grumpy Jamie was, but he was grumpy because he was awkward. Like, she genuinely like struck him stupid where he can't actually say anything apart from grunt, because she's so pretty his brain stops working. Oh my god, I love this so much. He was just such a sweetheart. Stephanie Archer's writing will always do it for me. It's just warm fuzzies that just make me so fucking happy. I love it. It was just so good. And that's all the books that I read in the month of July. So if you managed to get this far into the video, then leave a ring emoji in the comments down below for all of the Marriage of Convenience books I read this month. But for now, thank you so much for stopping by. It has been lovely having you here, and I hope to see you in another video coming very soon. Bye.